All right, it is Randy. We're here in the second week of August with Gary Raze of Remax Integrity, and I'm sitting here with Eugene Spotlights, just going to be talking to Gary about what's happening in Eugene as far as real estate, and he's going to run through the market update for us, and I'm going to quiz him with a few things on what I've heard from a national perspective. So, Gary, why don't you just lead off with what's happening in July and leading into August?
Well, here in Eugene, we've had a little bit of a drop as far as activity. There are more people that are starting to put their homes on the market for good reason. This is summertime,
Yeah.
and of course, with summertime, that brings on a new wave, if of lack of a better word, of people that want to get things done before school starts, and that's understandable. But there's also buyer wise, we've had more buyers of late too. But the price is the interesting part. You know, we have experienced uh, so much pressure as the prices increased. That's not the case now. The prices now have stabilized, which is good. The amount of time that's on the market anymore is it's almost 3 months, and so that has an impact as well. You know, it used to be you put the house on the market, and 2 days later, if you didn't have a sale, you were wondering what was wrong. Well, people now are realizing that you can't just throw a high price on a house and expect it to sell because now it's more of an honest price if lack of another word. And so prices here have stabilized. They've only gone up about 1% from a year ago. So that tells you how much things have changed. There's a lot of sellers. There's a bigger increase in sellers of late. And I think the reason for that is people are realizing that we don't know what the future holds. We do know that there's a lot of political unrest, and we don't know job wise how that's going to affect people. Here in Eugene, Springfield, or Lane County, we don't have a lot of federal jobs, so to speak. We don't have a lot of big corporations. And so we're not as exposed to job loss as some of the other areas are. But we're pretty even Steven here in the Lane County.
Okay. Okay. So then I wanted to jump into this right away here. So the NAR, the National Association of Realtors, and the National Association of Home Builders released some statistics this week saying that this was the widest margin ever as far as having more sellers in the market than buyers. That's number one. And number two, there was a reduction on single family homes being built across the nation. Now it's nationally, and people moving into Eugene or even in Eugene are going to wonder, is that the same thing that's happening in Eugene?
Good question. Part of our issues in Eugene is we've not had a lot of apartments, condos, except for around our University of Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
University of Oregon has just increased incredibly for one, lots of reasons. You have to realize that, and I know you're not in this area all the time, but Eugene or Springfield or Lane County, we have an awful lot to offer in this area. And being so, we have a lot of homes that are single built, but we don't have a lot of land that we're allowed to expand upon because we have a growth boundary limitation. And there's that's to keep farms and ranches and so on from being over sold like has been done in other areas, especially California. And so we have a growth limitation. So now we're starting to see a lot more apartment types or condo types being built in the last 3 years, especially. So that has been a major influx. New houses have not had the land to do a lot of big projects. So we only have about 3 or 4 large projects or areas where 100 homes will be being built. So we're limited.
Well, what I'm hearing then in Eugene, then that's probably one of the reasons that there's a stable market is there's a limitation on how many new homes you can build, number one. And then
Yes,
number two, it's like it seems like the amount of sellers and buyers has leveled out. And I guess it's nice that you don't have these big drops in employment because you've got a lot of small to medium-sized businesses that are relatively
that
stable.
That's a great point. Yes,
Yeah.
we are not as affected,
Hmm.
but we don't. The future is pretty uncertain right now for a lot of people.
Hmm.
Interest rates, they keep saying that they're going to drop, but so far they haven't been able to show why it should go down, other than the political scene saying it ought to go down. That doesn't work. Economics is driven in a certain way, and our people that are in charge of raising or lowering interest rates are well aware and are in control of making sure that this is done correctly. So I'm not looking forward. I mean, I don't expect much of a drop in interest rates in the future, and I also don't expect an increase in interest rates in the future.
So that brings up a good point. We've talked about it lots here, is that if this is where the interest rates are going to level out at, buyers need to accept that. And so say, okay, this is what our amount that we are going to be paying, and likely is not going to see significant moves either way.
That is an accurate statement, Randy.
Mhm.
But let's play a different way. Let's pretend, oh my gosh, the interest rates dropped a whole point down. Let's say it's now in the low sixes or upward in the high fives, which I don't expect it to happen. Let's pretend it did though. Would that help mortgage costs? Oh my goodness, would it ever? However, what would that happen? What would happen if if the interest rate dropped that much? That would allow so many more buyers to enter the market. Once those buyers are in the market, more pressure is put on those houses. And what do you suppose is going to happen to the house prices? They're going to be forced upward significantly if the rates were to go down that much. I'm a firm believer that we know what things are today. Let's lock let's lock that house up. Buy the house. That house mortgage doesn't change now. The interest rates can do anything it wants. It's not going to affect that house. The only thing that's going to affect the house prices, or excuse me, the house payment going up is simply taxes. So if that is now level, and then let's pretend that the interest rates drop significantly after you have purchased the home, you can always refinance to that lower interest rate. If the interest rate jumps up highly, big deal, doesn't affect you. So that's why I'm a firm believer that we know what it is now. Let's act now. Let's get your dreams taken care of today and not wait another year and procrastinate. That's the way I have always felt. Do what you can do best for your family.
Yeah, I think it's best to lock it in. And I think even on the seller's perspective, it's the same way. You know what? This is what our house is worth. We know what to replace it is going to cost. We're not waiting for a big swing up in our price, right? Or we're not waiting for the interest rates to make a substantial difference. So, you know what? Just make the move now if you're in that position.
Correct, because they're in the same boat. Once they're a seller, they also become a buyer.
Yep.
Maybe downsizing or whatever, but again, they're faced with the same pressures that all people are faced with.
Mhm. Yeah.
The other the other thing about the seniors in this situation, as the baby boomers escalate, Harry Griswold. I need to. Sorry about that.
That's good.
As the baby boomers decide to downsize for all kinds of reasons, that shows an ability for people to be able to move upward to larger homes for families. It also allows the seniors to move down to a more comfortable lifestyle
Mhm.
without having to mow that big lawn. So there's lots of movements in the upper areas, not so much in the beginning buyer stages.
So I've got a question we haven't really asked a lot here was what particular areas, like neighborhoods, are really the neighborhoods to move into in Eugene specifically? Like where's the most activity, I guess?
Oh, unless you know Eugene, I have to tell you, you can go anywhere in Eugene
Hmm.
from one side to the other side of town in less than 30 minutes. I mean,
Hmm.
Eugene is not that big, and
Hmm.
there's not a lot of bad neighborhoods, so to speak. We don't have the extreme changes like other communities do. This is pretty stable. So you're safe no matter what area that you go to. A lot of people like to be close to medical facilities. A lot
Mhm.
of people like to be close to easy access to the freeway should they be working in another area. Uh, those are the kinds of things that are important. Schools are important, of course, to the child bearing families, and that's always people rate their schools, but we don't have a lot of schools that are rated poorly. So again, I'm not trying to boost up Eugene Springfield, but I grew up in a different city, a big city, and I know what we have here, and I know why people don't want to move. So
The stable community. So I'm going to just in your past here, you just did some work on your own personal home here, and I wanted you to kind of tie that into preparation for sellers on what they could do, and maybe you can talk about little bit about what you did, not for preparation for selling, but just could be
oh, in
applied.
my own personal home.
Yeah,
Oh
then
yes.
you could apply that
Well,
to other sellers.
you know, we had animals, and unfortunately, they just passed on. We took that opportunity to take care of the flooring
Hmm.
and put in party. We put in planks, the type that is waterproof, the
Hmm.
type that doesn't scratch, all of that type of thing. And that's what a lot of people are going to now. We did a lot of revamping. My particular home happened to be an older home that had asbestos in the ceiling with the
Hmm.
popcorn ceiling. I simply, rather than remove it, I simply put sheetrock over it to seal it,
Hmm.
and went that route as well. So we went through quite an extensive remodel in that fashion, and very happy with the way things are came out. The point is, for people that are getting ready to sell their home, they have to analyze what's worth fixing, fix anything that's broken, what's worth improving upon. Sometimes it's simply just paint, and then also the carpeting. Nobody, oh, yeah, I shouldn't say nobody. That's an absolute statement. Most people don't wish to move into a home with carpet that has been in there for a while, and because especially if they've had animals and have somebody else's ground in dirt. So if you're going to sell, sometimes it's a good investment to change out the flooring completely to a more modern hardy plank or some kind of laminate plank that's waterproof. If you want to still do carpet, that's okay, and you can do remnants or whatever to for the bedrooms and so on. Because if people are going to put in carpet, usually they do it in the bedrooms. The new carpeting has a fresh feel to it, and that's something that's it's not a real expensive fix to make your home worth more. What you do to your house, you want it to be you want the outcome to outproduce the cost, the value versus cost. And so that takes some planning. The hardest thing for most families, as you can imagine, is quote stuff in your house. How do you get rid of it all? That is so tough. There are methods that you should follow to do that. Some people rent a uh, storage unit that works, except once it's out of sight, you forget to take care of it and get the stuff out of the storage unit and get rid of it. And so you're paying a fee there, but you have to get rid of, you have to under uh, underdo your house and all the furnishing.
Hmm.
That's just a side note that we kind of got off track. But
Right.
when sellers are ready to sell, they need to do all just Google all the things that they can do to improve upon inexpensively, I might add, to improve your chance for increasing your value.
So I'm going to talk again more about what you did at your home on the water situation, not because a lot of people will have either an acreage or a farm or a ranch, but you could talk to them about, well, if you did have this situation, or even more so if you're buying one, what to look out on the water side of things as far as water supply. Can you kind of go
Well,
into that?
sure. The first thing you're talking about is you're talking about farms, ranches,
Yeah.
acreage.
Yep.
There's a lot of half acre properties out there, whatever. Bottom line is they have a well.
Yep.
Number one question, what does it produce? And they usually give you a number, gallons per minute. You
Mhm.
need to be between 3 and 5 gallons per minute to pass regulations for mortgages. If you don't, if your output of a well is less than 3 gallons a minute, you need to do a storage tank. Their storage tanks are very inexpensive. People put in 1,000 gallon or 1,500 gallon storage tanks. That way your pump fills it up gradually, and then the water is taken from the storage unit, and your pump is not kicking on and off, on and off, on and off, destroying, basically burning out your pump. So number one is the amount of water. Number two is the quality of water. Now, state requirements uh, make us make sure that the water is drinkable. So we always do a water test to make sure that we don't have all kinds of arsenic and different things in the water. There are things, we have systems that take out a lot of problems in the water. Bacteria growing things that it's easily eliminated. So most people put in some types of filters. There's even a light that kills bacteria that is actually put down inside your well casing that kills bacteria inside. Why the well is full of water, it has killed all of that bacteria, and that stays down in there. So there's another little safety thing for people that are purchasing well water, or purchasing a home with a well.
I think that's a lot of people, they get excited about owning that small little acreage and they realize I need water, but they don't realize the all of the things that have to go into that. Like you were just mentioning, you can't get a mortgage if it doesn't produce enough water. Well,
Yes.
a lot of people wouldn't even have thought of that. They figure, okay, I go out there, it's got water, I'm going to get a mortgage.
Let's talk about the benefits. Guess who
Yeah.
does not get a water bill every month?
Bingo. Yeah.
Guess who doesn't have to pay for discharging your water every month?
Yeah.
So it's coming and going with the utilities. But if you live out in the country, you don't have that issue. You also have a septic tank
Hmm.
with a septic line, and those are the kinds of things that you also get checked out as well. Usually, we have it pumped and we have it looked at when we are a purchaser. The seller usually pays for the pumping, and the buyer usually pays for the inspection. And so that's another thing that is done with country properties. And we have a lot of country properties here in Lane County, certainly. So
So then I've got a question here that relates to this. What about the actual cost, the property taxes and so on? If you're living in a half an acre just outside of the city versus having a nicer home or a home in Eugene, what's the
oh,
property
it's
tax?
it's far less,
Oh.
first of all, number one. And number two, if you have a decent amount of acreage, 3 acres on up, some
Hmm.
people will grow berries or have a sheep or chickens or whatever, and call it a little country farm, sell eggs, whatever, and then they do what they call a farm deferral.
Mm.
Or if it's got a lot of timber, it'll be a timber deferral. That's where they don't charge you. They charge you extremely little taxes on the land because you're growing or you're producing a crop. They usually carve out though an area for your house itself, and they issue a normal tax rate there. Now I have 13 acres in where I live, and my property taxes hasn't hit $3,000 yet. And in town, it would be much more.
It'd be much, much more. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, exactly. So, all right, well, we'll wind this down here. The one thing that a lot of people will be wondering about, looking at the employment situation right now in Eugene and so on, prices look like they're going to be stable. How
Mm.
do people prepare for, if you're a buyer and you just moved to Eugene or you're in Eugene and you're in that rented house and you're ready to go, like what are the steps you would normally tell that buyer?
Okay, number one, you're going to get pre-approved for whatever they'll pre-approve you for before you go shopping.
Mhm.
Number two, you're going to have to hire an agent to represent you
Mhm.
on the purchasing problem. As of August 17th of last year, things changed where it used to be the seller kind of paid commission fees for both realtors. Today, that's not the case. The listing agent has a fee and the buying agent has a fee. It's
Mhm.
not as high as it used to be. It's kind of cut in half. So
Mhm.
instead of paying 6%, now you're paying 3%, and then the buyer needs to pay 3%. Usually the buyer asks the seller to help, and they usually do. But again, that my point being is you'll have to hire an agent that you trust, like and trust, and stay with that particular realtor. The realtor then can go and show you properties throughout all of Lane County or beyond if you wish to.
Right.
That's the other thing. Then ask your realtor. Harry Griswold. Ask your realtor to do comparable prices that
Mhm.
fit your criteria, so you know you're not overpaying for a property.
That's a
That's
good point.
very, very important.
Exactly, exactly. So, well, I guess until next month here, Gary, nice to be able to chat with you here today and get your perspective on local conditions versus national conditions. There's quite a bit of difference, I heard.
That's
And
true. We don't know what the future holds.
that's right. That's right. So now somebody's watching this and they want to get a hold of you. What's the best way to get a hold of Gary Raze?
Oh, I can. My phone number is simply 541
Mhm.
554 5825.
Mhm.
Again, 554 5825. Or they can simply go and they can text me at Gary Raze at remax.net, not com, but net. And of course, Raze is Raze. A little bit different to spell.
Perfect. That
Simply.
sounds great. That sounds great, Gary. Well, until next month, we look forward to hearing more about what's been happening and really appreciate your insights today on this particular case on the acreage side. And what do we do out there when we're buying or selling? So thank you very much.
You are welcome, Randy. Good talking with you. Take
Okay.
care.
Take care.